Ohayou gozaimasu. Welcome to the show. This is the anime morning show that doesn't take place in the morning, but it is morning in Japan, so that's how we get away with it. We're here today to talk about Demon Slayer Season 3, the big finale. And I'm going to be joined by the regular suspects, including Phil. How's it going?
Emphasis on sus.
What's that?
I said emphasis on sus.
Oh, okay.
Usual
Yeah.
suspects, yeah.
Gotcha.
Topical joke.
Well, you're in a new
Man,
spot.
That's fine.
You're in a different location.
I am. Yep. Just different part of the room. Same room.
Okay. All right. Well, you got your shirt on. That's good.
I do.
Glad to see it.
Well, my boy was in his last episode, so I had to.
Yeah.
Just for a brief hot second.
Yep. And then we also got JP joining us. JP, how's it going? Wow, it's extra bright in your room now.
I turned the light on.
Hey.
Nice. All right.
Yeah, man.
And a little bit later, we'll have Mike joining us as well. JP, your mic is a little like harsh. I don't know what's going on there. Is it
Harsh? Anything changed? Still bad?
No, it's a little better there. Maybe it's just rubbing on your beard or something. Yeah.
Oh, I did one of these. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. So we'll get going before.
Honestly, we don't need Mike's salty feedback right off the rip here. Those text messages, we should just hold on to those and just be like, "You're just so salty for no reason."
Yeah, we'll definitely get into what Mike had to say. His disapproval, I guess. Yeah, for
Once
sure.
we talk about it, look at some of the like replays of the scenes and stuff. I think he's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, this was awesome. I forgot."
Yeah, and I have another story that I kind of want to. I'm gonna show this, and hopefully we don't get struck for this too. If you guys were not aware, like we had, let's see, remember we had a show get like struck and unavailable a couple weeks ago. I submitted a claim to refute that. It was accepted, and then I got another one. I guess the first one was probably for the audio, second one's for the video, or something like that.
Come on.
And they don't even let me attempt it again, so it's just done. That episode is not viewable on YouTube. So
That's a great episode too.
well, I might do, I'll lose all its views and stuff, but I might like cut that part out and re-upload it. So let's see, can I share a second screen? I don't think I can, so let me add this other screen here. No audio share. All right, so for those that are watching, I'm just gonna play this. I'll play it in pieces. Basically, all the news is they've announced the next season of Demon Slayer. So
already?
Yes. So they put a bunch of key art out for it, so you can see the different
No release
characters
date.
that are going to be
No
involved.
release date yet that I saw though.
Just next year. So
Okay.
it is.
It's already next year. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I can accept that only because from what it felt like, I don't want to get too into it, but it seemed like that they had to have been working on other stuff because only 11 episodes for what we got felt pretty rushed and not our bang for the buck, what we're used to. Dude, that dude is so fucking sweet.
I'm excited. That's super cool. He has a what do you call it?
Yeah, big like flail kind of
Morningstar type situation. Yeah.
What, it's on a freaking chain? Yeah.
Yep. Right. Yeah. So we won't get into any spoilers for Demon Slayer yet. We'll wait till we fully get into it.
Is Tengen going to be in this?
Well, I don't know.
I mean,
I thought he was.
But well,
that's what I thought. I thought he was out.
Sometimes people at the very end need to.
I was about to say his eye is still there, so
yeah.
Unless they're all demons and regenerating shit now.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that.
So
I'm excited.
Yeah, that's happening. What I saw a little bit see, it's in that is so again, no spoilers for Demon Slayer yet, but the idea is that this new arc here, the Hashira training arc, is covering volume 15 and 16 of the manga. Now, to my understanding, there are 23 volumes that finished in 2020. And I was talking to a friend earlier today, and he was saying that the creator had some family health issues and kind of rushed to finish the story. So it'd be interesting because how this shapes up. Like, potentially he wants this to go longer, and it didn't. But and more reading on some comments, I guess this next arc, the Hashira training arc, is very short. So there's speculation that maybe this is going to be done in a long episode or in a movie or something like that. They're talking it's only 9 chapters, I think, versus maybe 20 to 30 that would be in a normal season or something like that.
Okay.
So what we could see is the Hashira training arc done in terms of a movie or something, and then we have maybe 3 full seasons afterwards, because I guess there are 2 arcs after this one.
Okay.
So right now it kind of seems like we've been doing 1 arc per season, but just the way these are split into the volumes, it seems like it might require an extra season or so.
Okay. See, I actually read an article that said, and it's the internet, so it's probably wrong, but it had said that after the Hashira training arc, there would only be like 1 more season probably. But sounds like that's not the case. Probably.
Someone was suggesting that it would be impossible to separate the last arcs or whatever.
Okay. So maybe it'd be
I don't know why. Season. Yeah, maybe maybe.
That'd be cool.
I would think they would do it in a season and then split it in half. They'd do a Attack on Titan kind of thing or whatever. Final season,
cool
part 1.
Thing that nobody likes. Yeah. Let's keep doing that.
Well, if it's so like together, and it makes sense that it is one thing, I understand. When it could be, segmented into meaningfully different seasons. Like when I think of a season, I don't really think, it has to thematically be different or like really situationally different. It's just like, this is the end. This is what we got to in time to release. And now here, I don't know, but
yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, I could see that happening.
Yeah.
Speaking of Attack on Titan.
Yeah. So I thought we talk. So again, for those that haven't watched it, let's keep the spoilers out for Attack on Titan. We'll have a spoiler talk of Attack on Titan sometime.
Sure.
But you, Phil, so JP, you've watched a lot of it. Phil, you started it and got a ways in.
Well, JP wanted me to watch 2 episodes.
Okay, yes.
To start with.
How far did you get?
Wait, you watched more than that, though. Thoughts? You said you were like,
yeah. I am like probably 17 episodes in, maybe something like that. I was just joshing you, like, you said to watch 2, and I watched like a ton. I think I'm almost done with the first season, honestly.
Nice.
But I'm like right about where that huge chick comes in. If that makes, you know what I'm saying? They're like doing exercises way out in the field. The blonde hair.
Mm-hmm.
She like
the female
lifts
Titan.
Armin's hood off his head and like was like, "Hey," and then like went away. So I have some thoughts about who she is, but yeah. So that's about where I am. If that reminds you of anything.
There's you can't spoil Attack on Titan because it's been out for so long. So you can really just...
not true. What? That's not true.
Oh, John hasn't seen it. That's right.
Oh,
no. I've seen season 1.
Oh, then we should be able to talk freely, because if the anime is like season 1 happened like 10 years ago, there is no spoiler for. Sorry, we're doing season 1 spoilers of Attack on Titan now. Like that doesn't exist, John.
Attack on Titan. Let me see. This is when we talked about this before.
2014,
when this came out.
2014, 2016.
Long time ago. Yeah.
Don't
worry. We're gonna also do Cowboy Bebop spoilers too here.
For anyone. Okay, Cowboy Bebop I think is fair. Cowboy Bebop I think is fair. Okay. Spoiler warning for Attack on Titan season 1 for anyone. Skip ahead a minute or so. What do you gotta say so much, JP? That you gotta bring out.
No, it's not me. I want to hear what Phil thinks, and then I just want to just smile or not smile.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to smile either way.
So
I'm a terrible gambler.
Yeah, so I really like it. I think I don't know if I just said this on the pod, but I actually got my oldest brother, who's like, he's like a lumberjack working outdoors, like huge beard. I mean, you guys have beards too, but he's like not your stereotypical anime watcher necessarily. Although maybe this is more mainstream. Maybe there isn't a stereotypical anime watcher anymore. So I apologize to everyone out there. Anyway, I was like, let's watch this show, man, bro. You know, it's like adult cartoon, but it's like a lot of cool battles and stuff. And he was all for it. And we watched like 5 or 6 episodes together when I was visiting him a couple weekends ago. And and I've just been going ever since. It's interesting. It's like, it's intense. It's like pretty cards close to the vest in terms of like what it lets you find out about. Like, I'm still like, what? I would like to know more about the central government. I would like to know more about where these Titans came from. Like, I think probably like the government's responsible for these Titans, probably. Some sort of like keeping the population culled. Or maybe it's like this military industrial complex thing where they're like, we need to create a enemy so that we can pump all this money into the military and enrich our cronies who like make these swords and like jump like kits and, you know, who like, I don't know. I think it's like a conspiracy, like a government conspiracy, man. That's what I'm thinking. That's where I'm going right now.
You've got some big ideas there.
I think that big female Titan is Armin's mom because his parents used to like be, what do you call them? Field agents or the field corps.
Oh, that's right.
And I think I presumably they never say what happened to them, but you were led to believe they probably died at some point. But there's obviously experiments going on with people being turned into Titans. Somehow, obviously, you know, Aaron's dad's involved in this. He probably knew Armin's parents. They were friends. They probably were guinea pigs at one point too. Otherwise, why would she not kill Armin when she like came upon him in a field by himself? She looked at him lovingly, I thought. I think that's his mom. I don't know. But I feel like I'm almost done with season 1. They're not even close to getting into the guy's basement. They're like, we got to get in this guy's basement. That could help us win the war. They can't even go on a field exercise without everything going to hell. You know,
I think like the major appeal for this, because I was watching other animes when I started watching this one, and the information, how they keep it close to the chest, nothing is spoon fed like everything, like the stuff that we talked about in all these other episodes, where there's like, oh look, I'm doing inner monologue and I'm going to keep talking, and like, and then this is my ability. Let me tell you how it works.
Sure.
I do this thing. Yeah. There is none of that in there. Nope. Absolutely nothing. Maybe like once or twice where it's like, but it's not obnoxious at all, which there's not too many like super serious anime. There is no chibi bullshit anywhere.
Nope, I haven't seen any. It reminds me in tone. It's similar in that way to like that other one I've been watching that John's been reading the manga, Heavenly Delusion. Just in terms of like serious pretty much all the time. I mean, there's maybe a little humor, but there's no like chibi stuff. And you don't know shit about like what's happening. And it's just like, okay, this is crazy and I like it, but I'm just along for the ride, but it's wild. So yeah, I'm like really curious to find out about a lot of stuff, but I'm assuming I'll have to get to like season 3 to find out. I don't, at this rate, I don't think they're in the basement yet. Probably even where you are. I bet. I don't know. So, but I'm digging it though. I'm plowing through it.
All right. Well, good.
Yeah, it goes fast.
Yeah. We have Mike joining us. How's it going?
Hey guys, what's up? How's it going today?
Hello.
Good. We just finished talking a little bit about Phil's impression of Attack on Titan and the big questions to which he is looking for answers.
Oh, you want some spoilers?
Nope. Oh no.
So you want me to answer?
Preferably.
Tell you what happens? Okay.
From the show when I watch it. But yes, I do want to know.
You
I don't think I
mentioned
could recreate my whole rant, Mike. So
That's
you'll just have
okay.
to watch it. You just have
I'll
to catch it
watch.
on the pod.
Gives
Okay.
me something to look forward to, Phil.
Right, exactly.
You got a new spot.
I did, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, thanks. I just thought I'd change it up.
Mhm.
You know.
Cool. Phil, you mentioned you're also watching Heavenly Delusion, which, as you said, I'm reading. I have to wait till the middle of July for the next volume. It's frustrating. How is that show going for you?
Really good. It's it's pretty, like I was just saying, it's pretty intense. It's pretty confusing. I mean, it's not confusing. It's just like you don't know what's going on.
Just answers that are unprovided.
Yep,
Yes.
lots of
It's
unprovided
like you
answers.
understand what's happening with what they show you, but
Right. But it's very unclear how it all fits together. Again, it's like similar to how I feel about Attack on Titan. I think there's some sort of grand conspiracy. A reason for the way the world is, and there's a lot of So
Mike, JP, if you guys have Hulu or Disney Plus,
I think just Hulu.
Just Hulu?
I couldn't find a Disney Plus. It's just on Hulu.
Okay. I was going to be surprised this show was on Disney.
Yeah.
Like it's not one that would seem to fit there.
No.
This is a show in the last. Again, this is me based on reading it, but it seems like they're doing a good job with the show version of it. This is one I would recommend in the last few years that, to me, really stands out above some other things in terms of intriguing story and interesting questions, a fun world, familiar kind of tropes, I guess, but done in a different way, and just like really well written. Like just as we were talking with Attack on Titan, that doesn't have all the exposition of some other shows. Yeah. This one doesn't have that either. Characters are believable.
Yeah,
situations, they don't pull punches. It's just, and I was happy to see there's this thing called anime trending, and they follow like the what are considered the most watched shows and stuff, kind of week by week. And for the past 3 weeks, Heavenly Delusion's been number one. So it's
JP, if you're searching for it on Hulu, though, sorry to interrupt. If you search for it on Hulu, you have to search by the Japanese name, which is like Tengoku Daiakimo or something like that.
Close. Tengoku
Daimakyo. So if you just do like Tengoku, which is pretty much how it sounds, if you type that in, then you'll find it.
Tengen and his 3 wives. Got it.
Yeah.
Right, there you go.
That's incognito mode when you're searching for that one.
Right.
Not safe for work.
So, how about either you two, Mike or JP? You been watching anything else?
No.
In the non-anime related world, I was cruising on HBO and I found Eastbound and Down, and it might be the funniest show that I've forgot to watch the whole way through.
Okay.
Danny McBride is a failed major league pitcher. He wins a World Series in his rookie year, and then he's just a crazy off the cuff, racist, xenophobe. Just a guy that just talks out of his ass the whole time. And then the show picks up after he's flunked out of the majors, moved back home, and there's the story. And it's a bunch of guys from like Step Brothers. Will Ferrell's a producer in there, so it just has a bunch of like comedians like from before they got big in this 4-season show of just him trying to get back into the majors and get his life on track, but he's just a fucking idiot the whole time. So it's absolutely hilarious. So I highly recommend. I only got about 3 seasons out of the 4 before I canceled HBO to save a few bucks. So I may never know what happens. I don't really care. It's if you're looking for just brainless hilariousness and boobs, tits, drugs, all that fun stuff. It's all in there.
Sounds like baseball entourage.
Pretty much. That's exactly
the way to put it.
Okay.
It's a good one.
Yeah, I remember when that was coming
Sounds
out.
funny.
All right.
I've heard of it.
Well, we're all here, and we might as well get into Demon Slayer
Let's do it.
itself. Get spoiled
Together
about
again.
that.
I feel like it's been a
I
long
have a big can of Sapporo
Ooh.
premium beer to
Love that.
have to celebrate.
Good on you.
Phil's got his shirt on. I've got
Yep.
my figure of Tengen.
Hey, nice.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
That's badass, dude.
That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
JP's got his hat on backwards. Mm-hmm.
Aw, yeah.
That's when shit's getting real.
Always have my hat on
Set to go.
backwards. My boss don't care that I wear hats.
Well,
It's awesome.
So shit's
Shit's
always getting real.
around you, so it makes sense.
all right, so let's share this screen here so you guys have something else to look at. So, all right, so we're covering really the final 3 episodes, but or yeah, however you want to look at it. I guess it's 2, but
Yeah.
a big one
3
and a
episodes
regular one.
worth.
Yeah. But we might as well just really talk about, ultimately the season as a whole. I think we all watched this last night, right? So
Yeah.
pretty
Yes.
fresh, of course. We got to start, I think, with Mike, because we have a preview of the sourness that Mike is about to bring.
Do you have it on screen? No.
No, I
I was gonna say.
well, yeah.
John's got
Okay.
a
So last couple episodes, the big finale, season 3. What'd you think of these?
I think they tricked us with a heartfelt moment, which was excellent. But if you strip away the Nezuko piece of this, nothing fucking happened. Nothing. He cut the head off of the guy that he's been chasing. In fact, they probably could have reused the same goddamn screen from previous episodes, and we wouldn't have even noticed. I don't understand why people are hyped about these last 2/1 combined episodes, because nothing freaking happened. You had a couple of scenes, right? But it's all stuff that we've seen before in the previous episodes. Gyutaro did some badass shit because he's half demon or eating demon flesh or whatever. So he pulls some trees out of the ground. That's badass. I agree. There's cool scenes in it. The Zenitsu inspiration, cool scene, awesome. But what did he use it for? He used it to run straight and try and chop the guy's head off again. We've seen this thing happen throughout the entire season, and then we just watched it all happen again. We paused while we had a Nezuko moment, which was cute, and it has significant implications for the rest of the show and where it's going to go. But as of this season, after episode 1, I used the GIF. The guy jumped off. Sick. Awesome start. Great launch. Episode 1 was baller, and it just went whap. It just fell on his face because we didn't progress a story. The Gyutaro fight with Tokido, right? That I don't even know what to say. He goes into a different form, and it's just completely irrelevant. Like nothing actually progressed. That whole part, you can take that entire section out of this season, and it changes nothing. Absolutely nothing. Right? If the Mist Hashira doesn't fight that demon, it is completely irrelevant. And that took up like 4 episodes or something like that, or what felt like 4 episodes. And then this fight, the big bad at the end, the little guy with the drums and stuff, is disintegrates because they cut off a different head that was inside of a different body, that was inside of a different head, that was inside of a different, we've done that. And he ran through the forest a whole bunch again. So I don't get it. I don't understand the love affair. We didn't see enough of this chick. We didn't see enough of her actually doing any of the fighting. They just were like, oh, she's about to lose. But she didn't. And it was, man. He got a special sword. And that's what gave him the fuck. Good God. The only thing that was really actually cool about this, like I said, is the day walking thing. The fact that Muzan now has a new target. He's going to become more active on this. That's going to be a big deal. And it is cool, once again, that Tanjiro seemingly has the ability to learn all of these different breathing forms that nobody else seems to be able to master. Like he can do water, fire. Now he's learning a little bit of the lightning form, right? Like it comes naturally to him. So obviously he's going to put all that shit together, and that's going to make fire form or sun breathing. That's super cool. But the season as a whole was not good.
All right. I've lots to say, but let's work our way up. JP, what?
Okay, so I was just writing down all the things that you just like brushed over. That was just like, cool point, sucked.
So smart.
Muzan, cool, sucked. Thunder breathing, oh, that's kind of fucking cool, sucked.
I gave them exactly as much time as the show gave us with it. So, go on.
Okay. One, the Muzan piece of it, fucking sweet. I agreed that it could have been a whole thing, but what was one of our complaints? Like, hey, do we want to have a fucking flashback episode to everyone's fucking origins every single time? We're like, oh, that was fucking so dumb when we spent a whole episode on the demon backstory. Oh, that was another thing you didn't mention, that whatever that fucking creepy demon, when he got his memories back, it was the first time we got a piece of shit demon who was a piece of shit, a human before. And it was like, oh, great. I don't feel any sympathy for this guy. Fuck this guy.
No.
I thought that was awesome. He was like, oh, look. A shithead in a shithole, and he just got the fucking weak bad end of the stick, which I thought was pretty satisfying for, you hope the bad guy's actually a bad guy. He's totally a bad guy. I will agree that the love Hashira, that was the one thing I agreed with you, is she didn't get any airtime, which makes me like, this is the only time that I've actually wanted to go read the manga and figure out what exactly is in this arc, because they easily could have fit in another 20 minutes of just like, hey, here's everything in the village. Here's where we're supposed to do stuff. Or the world building was lost on me. I just felt like there could have been a little bit more, or figure out where the hell he's going. But the instant thunder breathing, that makes me think that it's kind of like he can acquire things as he sees them. So I'm wondering if there's going to be some sort of way that he can maybe he picks up a mist thing now. Because, well, I guess he didn't get to see anything. It's got to be people he talked to and stuff like that. But
okay, all right,
yeah.
So you're feeling a little better about it. A little better about it than Mike. It's fair to say.
I would say a little bit better. I thought the positives were sweet. Like the Muzan origin story was like, this is just a disease. Being a demon is just something that was created out of a bottle, which I wasn't expecting. Like, oh, a doctor just created this. Sweet.
Well, was it so much that he created it, or was it, because I interpreted it as he was inflicted with this, and the medicine he was giving him was keeping at bay the demon side of him, the demon part.
Oh,
because
I thought
that's why he was saying the medicine is working, because once he stopped taking it, all of a sudden he was like needing flesh and like changing and stuff.
Oh.
So it was keeping him weak.
Okay.
That's how I saw that.
I see.
Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I...
Yeah.
I think I'm leaning on JP here. I would like to be wrong, because what John said is cooler. But I interpreted it the same way that JP did, because that's why he's looking for the blue spider lily, because that's a key ingredient to the formula that would allow him to be a daywalker, right? Yeah. So he was talking about the reason he's been doing this. So once he saw Nezuko be a sunwalker, a daywalker, once he saw that, he said he doesn't need to create any more demons, right? Because he hates demons as much as he hates anything else. So he says he doesn't need to create any more demons, because he doesn't need to search for the blue lily anymore. He can just go devour Nezuko. That's what he said. Mm-hmm. So the medicine that was key was, I thought, being developed. And he was so upset because he killed the one guy that knew where to harvest the blue spider lily.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But what was the... I'm not sure how that would make sense for needing that then to walk in the day, unless the guy was trying to, because when he was sick, he could walk in the day. He was fine. So they were using the blue lily stuff for what he was taking, and he could walk in the day even though he was weak. He was in a weakened state. Once he stopped taking the medicine, then his demon stuff came out, but it came with a cost. He can't be in the day. So I would say the assumption is the blue lily ingredient is what is somehow repressing something. And yes, the side effect of that is I'm weakened, but I could also walk in the day. So if I can make some type of concoction similar to what I was being given before, that I could now take that and walk during the day, maybe the hope would be that he could make something that he's not put in a weakened state as well, or dealing with the weakened state so he can be out in the day. And as it's like a temporary, while you're taking the medicine, you can walk around.
So I don't think he's trying to make a hybrid of this. A best of both worlds. Daywalker without losing. He wants to be Blade.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
I don't know. I had to watch it again, but to me, otherwise, it doesn't make sense to say that it was working. I remember that distinctly. I turned out the medicine was working.
I don't remember.
And then he became a demon.
Yeah.
I can't tell if this is a spoiler alert, so I'll just say keep it to myself. If you want to Google how he, but it seems
yeah.
If it's not in the episode, it's a spoiler. That's what I learned last time.
Gotcha.
I got yelled at.
The only other thing I had to say about the episode was the sense of smell thing. That was like a weakness detector.
You mean a plot armor?
What's
not
super
plot armor?
OP?
Like he was able to just X-ray the demon, and like it wasn't like that before. It was just like, oh, follow the smell.
Like finding the opening to slap.
Yeah, it's like finding the opening, but it's like, oh, that's where it is.
So now he's like now he can just do whatever he wants with the power.
The dude is a top level Hashira now. Like,
yeah,
pretty much.
It's ridiculous.
Except,
yeah.
And I can't believe none of us mentioned this. Genya ripped that dude's arms off.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. That was fucking sweet. I thought Tantra was going to get a little crunched up a little bit.
Yeah.
Obviously not, but man, that was like...
Oh, that was pretty sweet when that little mini guy like grew up real fast into that.
Yes.
Big, I was like, whoa, this guy means business now. Like this.
Because it was a different body again, right? That was like one last emotion, resentment or whatever.
Resentment, I think,
yeah, there was cool parts in the episode. There's cool little things. I'm heavily pointing back to the manga. Probably didn't have a lot for this arc. Like this must have been a super short arc, and there wasn't a lot of chapters. I think the only thing I can think of, because they really just like, here's the Swordsmith Village, and you see nothing of it. Demons, forests. Keep it outside. Keep it outside the village.
Right. Well, and piggybacking off that, JP, kind of to Mike's point, it is a pretty straightforward story. It was a pretty straightforward, like both fights were pretty straightforward. So I agree with you. I still enjoyed it overall. And I some of the things you kind of had both hinted at or talked about, not having Mitsuri in as much in the final, like at all, like that was disappointing to me. I wanted them to bounce back and forth between Tanjiro's fight and then Mitsuri's fight, and then like Duke's. That would have been similar to last season. I wanted them to try to like kill both demons at the same time. I figured, that kind of had to happen, but I guess every demon's different, and so maybe that wasn't necessary for this demon, obviously, but that would have looked cooler, flipping back and forth. I think they could have spent less time on like, you'd see like 10 seconds, like basically stills of Tanjiro like crying. It's like, we can cut some of that down a little bit and then add a little more Mitsuri in would be fine. I don't know.
Okay.
I liked it all, but just edit it a little better, I think.
So are we moving up the scale basically? It's like a pretty negative down here in the bottom with Mike, and JP is enjoying it. Phil, like, it's
I liked it a lot. I enjoyed it a ton. I even liked I liked the episode prior to that one even more.
Okay.
where it was like mostly about Mitsuri, and I really liked her backstory. I like how not every person needs like an episode long backstory. Her backstory was cool, kind of short and sweet, and it really fit her character well. And then like this other demon's backstory, like short and ugly, and it fit him well. And I was like, great, easy backstories. Get him, knock him out in like 4.5 minutes of airtime. That's perfect.
Yeah.
So I really liked the whole last like episode. The whole last like 3 episodes basically were awesome. But I do agree. Like there are things they could have done better, and a lot of both your points, I agree with.
Yeah, to me, the show is still like it kind of just keeps like, maybe I'm misremembering earlier seasons, but to me it kind of keeps getting better. Like I've spent a lot of time, I mentioned this before, complaining about how anime likes to drag things out pointlessly. And now maybe this is too fast. Really, I do think it would benefit having each episode combined, 2 episodes combined, you know? So every week you had 2 episodes instead of 1. I think it would benefit a lot from that. But otherwise, we had a nonstop battle for the whole season, basically. And it evolved in ways that I didn't expect. We talked a lot of like guesstimations on who was going to finish who was going to go to what battle, how that was going to happen. I don't know that any of us really nailed that. I think that we managed to have we managed to make Tanjiro the hero, even though he's gonna obviously be the strongest person. He's not, because he couldn't deal with even close the whole like wood dragon guy kid with the drums. No. He couldn't touch him. So the Love Hashira, super badass. I disagree. Like I would like to see her more in the last episode, but the one prior, she got to shine. She showed off like 5 different breathing techniques, and they were flashy as fuck. And like it was like, I was like, holy shit. Like, you know, I thought maybe we're gonna have one Hashira before, the Mist Hashira, that's able to like deal with the demon, and we've got all of a sudden now another one that's like not to be messed with, and this guy is in trouble. If she had, like, you know, she didn't have others to deal with, others to fret about, to protect, because that's what she spent the whole time doing, to protect the others so they could. So it was an effective way to have Tanjiro be the hero without him having to power up even more than he ridiculously already is, because for him to be able to defeat the powerful body here, he wouldn't stand a chance. So what do? Well, we have to give him the weaker counterpart to deal with. And it had to be him and 2 others. So I thought it was a good way to do that. We got an emotional backstory for Genya, and found out that he is related to a Hashira, and we have future drama to ensue with that. We found out that he can consume demon flesh that enhances his powers. So now we know why he is the way he is there.
So can I stop you there, John, though, for a second?
Yeah.
Why do we think that is, like, first of all, how did he get into demon eating? Just questions. Yeah. Why is he the only one that does it? How does that give him powers? Does that make him a demon? He's obviously not. He's walking around in the daylight. So I'm still like super confused about him.
Well, he was
Nezuko's thing works on him for some reason. Nezuko's.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. He can't walk around in the daylight, I don't think. We didn't see that because, again, at the end, his powers had worn off. His hair was back to normal. That's why he couldn't just jump down the cliff like we were talking. It's like, you know, it had worn out. I thought he was going to eat more flesh when he ripped the arms off. I was going to eat more of it and like jack up some more or something, you know, but maybe there's a limit there or something. So
okay, well, maybe we'll find out more about him or in future seasons.
Yeah, So he has answers, but he's changed some. He's like seen and now respects. So this show is about relationships, and we found out a lot about the characters and then how they, form bonds with one another. Obviously Tokido was very affected and recovered his memories, and we saw his tragic backstory. We got to see the Love Hashida's backstory. So we had all these while this season still felt like one big battle. Because we didn't have the delay. We didn't have the delays. We didn't have the episode that's an aside to go back to spend 25 minutes on someone else and their backstory. It was cut in there expertly, very well, so we could keep the pace moving. And so there's nothing more I could want from this season. I really thought they were going to kill Nezuko too. I was like,
I thought so too.
I can't
Dude,
believe
they did the highlight
was
video
shocked.
and everything.
Wow, they went there.
I did.
I was like,
Yep.
oh, sweet.
And so when it ended, it's like I was thinking of my friend that's daughter loves this show, and she's like loves Nezuko. I'm like, damn, that's gonna be hard on her. So when this ended, and it was Nezuko was ready to be gone because she wasn't progressing anywhere. Now she's not. So as much as I would have been okay with her ending, and that would have been a character motivation for Tanjiro, I'm happy with this because now it completely changes the course of the villain. It changes the course of how everybody needs to deal with her or protect her. We now can hear her talk. She has now evolved, and now we have something more to deal with. She has a purpose again.
Yep.
John.
Yes.
What was her first word? Ohayou.
Yeah.
Oh,
Was it?
yeah, it was.
Nice.
I thought of you in this as soon as that happened. I was like, oh shit.
Thank goodness. Yes, thank goodness.
Yeah, I just think good. I was gonna say thank goodness. Yeah, I don't know because
I'm glad they explained she's still in a childlike state, because I was like, what's with Nezuko? She's seeming like she's about 3 years old or something like that. But
how much time has passed since the first season? Do you know?
It's a good question. No idea.
I feel like a couple years, but I'm not really sure.
She seems like she's 6 years old. I don't know. That's the vibe I get until she starts going ham fighting. I remember thinking, this is the most selfless and situationally aware 6-year-old or even 8-year-old that I've ever seen. I mean, my son would throw down. I guarantee it. He would throw down. He would try and fight, but to have the wherewithal to be like, nah, man, kick you off, go save them, self-sacrifice.
Oh, sure.
That is a beyond the years kind of choice.
That was
great.
It was cool.
That was another part where I felt like when I said before, we didn't need to see 20 seconds of Tanjiro crying. That was another time. I mean, I get they're building suspense, but they went a long time letting him just sit paralyzed with not knowing what to do. But I mean, that's.
But I felt it then. I'm like, what do you do? Do you choose the greater good, or do you choose your sister? That this is the whole point of why you do. You're paralyzed in choice.
Half the time. After halfway through that time, I was like, I get it. I get it. I come from Dragon Ball Z, where Spirit Bomb took 3 episodes.
Yep.
So I understand your frustration. I don't think that necessarily makes it okay. Just because it's been done doesn't mean that it should continue to be done. I agree that it could have gone forward, but to that same token, I think that's why I'm frustrated with a lot of the fights in this season. John, you make a good point. There was some things that were covered within the fight as well. And it seemed like it didn't lose a whole lot of momentum, but that's because the fight didn't seem to have a whole lot of momentum to begin with. We split off. That's cool. And then they split, and then they split, and then they came together, and then they split, and then they it was a lot with this particular demon. It was a lot of the same. It was a lot of chasing through the forest. It was a lot of Tanjiro breaking bones, yet somehow keeping on. There was just a bunch of that. I get what you're saying about feeling like it progressed. I felt the opposite. I felt like we got some episodes with some value, but there was 5 minutes of that value, maybe 10 minutes of that value. And then the other 10 to 15 minutes of the episode was devoted to something that we had pretty much already seen previously. That's why I think it started off so hot. First episode, second episode, like I was on board. That was awesome. When this main demon, the fourth rank, when he crawled in the office or into the room, remember, dude, I was amped. That was incredible. I love that.
That's cool.
It took off. The show took off, and then I just felt like we just stayed here for like 6 episodes. So that's that. I don't know if you can change my mind. I went through and I watched the whole thing back to back again last night, and I just couldn't shake the feeling.
Okay. I wonder in like a couple weeks or like a couple months if we did if we did a rewatch, or if one were to do a rewatch, and you see that all those battles happen like back to back to back to back, and it might feel more interesting and cool when you watch and make all these transformations fluidly, and you just binge it in like a day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think I would, but Mike's saying he didn't already. You know, I mean, I know it's like it's right there. You know, we just went through it, but even so, you know, if that didn't change it, I don't think it's the time will. You know, unless all of a sudden you get to next season, you're like, wow, this is slow, and you're like, I wish maybe there's a little action here. Well, maybe there's a little sword play that happened or something.
I don't know. I've really loved the pace of the first 2 seasons. Like I had no complaints about that, really. Maybe, yeah, I won't say no complaints. That's a little bit of a strong thing to say. I might have had some, but I don't remember having this kind of feeling coming away from those 2. And I might have done my rewatch too close. Like maybe I did it too soon to the point where I wasn't willing to let go of how I was already feeling about it. You know, because I was kind of watching it again. I was like, fucking, here we go. Yeah, yeah, right. So I already had that idea. Maybe I do need to give it a little bit of time, get rid of that.
I think now that the season's over, I go back to my original point that this season would have made an excellent movie.
Yeah.
Now that I've seen everything that there has to be with the arc,
I agree.
I really think the formula would have worked too. You know, season 1, then Mugen Train, Entertainment District, then we have the Swordsmith Village movie, and then Hashira Training. I don't know. Maybe they just don't want to keep cranking out movies, but felt like it definitely had that kind of pacing to. Then I would have been a little bit more happy with it because it's like, oh, you know, it's just a movie. You can't really world build too much. But if we're going to make seasons out of this, season out of it, we didn't get like the intro to the Swordsmith Village that I thought we were going to get.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. It'd be good as a movie. Mm-hmm. I think that, you know, Mike, before you got here, we talked a little bit about kind of like they announced that the next season is coming. It's going to be out next year. It's the Hashira training arc, but there was some extra context to that. So firstly, it's allegedly very short. And so some people are suggesting that has to be a movie or just a lengthy episode. It's not going to work as a season. So if next year we get maybe another movie or something like that.
Okay.
And then there are supposedly 2 more arcs, but they're difficult to split up, apparently, for whatever reason. I don't know. I didn't look for spoiler's sake.
Momentum or something, huh?
Yeah. So theoretically, we get whatever we get next year, maybe a movie or something, and then we maybe get 2 more seasons, 2 longer seasons. Maybe it's stretched to a 3rd, and that's going to be it. Because I guess the creator ran into some family health things, was pushed to rush finishing it, and it was wrapped up. Now, I've heard that the ending is very good. So whatever they came with, you know, but getting to the end point might have been quicker than intended. Now, I think that I would rather, if they're like, okay, look, we only have so much Demon Slayer content here. It's only so many seasons left we can do with what we have. I would rather them say, okay, we're going to make sure we draw out these battles and per week than like try to add content and stretch and slow it down.
Yeah, don't do that. You can't write this. Nope. I agree. I've seen Game of Thrones. No, you don't get to do that shit. Stop adding stuff.
Well, Game of Thrones is that fat old fuck can't finish a book, so it's really on him.
Sure, but whatever the reason is, like,
well, there's source content.
Suck it. You're not good.
You're comparing two different things, man. There's one of them, all the shit's done and it's ended, and then the other one is like, hey, I have writer's block. Yeah, I'm fucking 90 years old and I'm never going to finish this shit.
Right, but the concept is the same. Your source material is out. You can't write good enough source material to match up. So don't. The reasons are different, but the end result is the same. Like, they should have never gone past what old man Winter, who is too old to write anymore, made in Game of Thrones. And here, I
actually not that old. Just for
oh my god,
he seems
160
years old.
He is large and unhealthy.
Is really showing.
I think he's only in his like 50s.
He's in his 50s?
Well, he should be doing commercials for the AARP because my god, he looks
reverse mortgage.
Okay, my bad. He's 74.
Yeah, okay. I was like, "What are you talking?" There's no
74 is the new 55, my friends.
Dude, I bet you he was in his 50s in like 2000 or so.
Wow, Mike, did you do that all by yourself?
Wow, good guess, Mike.
I mean, I'm just giving you a little credit, Phil. When that show came out, he was probably about in his 50s, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, well, when you have the number one show in all of TV, you don't just like, okay, sorry, we ran out of source material, so we're just going to put a pause on it.
Oh, I agree. Out of protest, I refuse to watch any of the episode or any of the seasons of Game of Thrones beyond the source material. So I still haven't seen the last, I don't know, 2 seasons or so, maybe.
Good on you.
Maybe I'll watch it someday if he ever gets his books out. And I realize that
the Battle of the Bastards?
They're different because I think the show went a different direction than I think.
Yes.
I think George R. R. Martin say it's not going to be the same. It's going to be a little different.
No, I mean no one will buy the books if it's the same.
But I'm still just
better show from the rooftops. It's different.
I might not even if he gets a book out, I might not even ever read it because it's like, guess what, buddy? I can't even hardly remember what happened in any of the other books anymore. It was like 15 years ago that I finished the Dance of Dragons. Mm-hmm. I don't think I can just pick up the next one and go so maybe I just never finish it. You lost your chance. I'm not going to buy your $50 book because I'm just over it at this point. So
it can work in terms of another writing team. So Full Metal Alchemist is the one example I can think of. Full Metal Alchemist was coming out and the anime was getting ahead of the manga, and they deviated, and people loved that show. Mm-hmm. Then years later, they came out with Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, which is true to the manga after the manga was all done, and people also loved that show. Wow! So it's a once in a blue moon kind of scenario where the people cared about it enough, saw what the characters were like, and were able to realistically develop a thoughtful story. But yeah, ultimately, I think for this, give us the content that is available, and if that makes a fast pace, I think when it's all said and done, if we have 3 or 5, say we have 5 seasons and 2 movies, or 2 or 3 movies, I can't complain about that.
Right.
I think there's more than enough shonen anime that goes on for eternity.
Absolutely.
Way too long, more than it should. And if we, maybe we miss out on some, slower episodes that, spend more time detailing some of the other Hashira. And we miss out on some training montages and stuff that would be helpful in making us believe that these abilities are obtained reasonably and some of that. That would be unfortunate, but
okay. Like, to your point, I mean, you don't have to flesh out every single character for them to be popular, right? No. Snake Hashira could be very popular. Look at Boba Fett, right? You didn't know jack shit about him, but he is a fan favorite, right? Because there's some mystery to that. It allows you to build that headcanon up. And that's where people can live. So yeah, you don't have to delve deep into everyone.
Yeah.
Yep.
I hope they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it needs to be long. I just want it to like be good and end like well. You know?
I want the bad guys to be fleshed out.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
and I feel like that's different because this show is about them. In my opinion, this show is about these demons. It is about Muzan more than it is about Tanjiro. Like Tanjiro is just, in my opinion, Muzan's target. And now Nezuko is just his target. This is about him and trying to solve this problem for himself. And we're learning slowly but surely. And that's where there's more unique characteristics to me, I think. And there's fewer of them. And so that's the other reason that I want to see them fleshed out. We now only have 3. We only have the upper 3, right? And then Muzan himself. So there's enough time to flesh out each of them. And because it takes multiple Hashira, it seems, to take down these upper rank demons, and Doma is going to be a menace, right? With how fast that dude regenerated when Akaza messed him up. Akaza has also been said to have gone through, in this episode, he got a lot more powerful since he fought Rengoku. So that's sick. And then you've got, I can't pronounce the last guy's name, but
it's Old Six Eyes.
Old Six Eyes, yes.
Kokoshibo?
Yes, thank you.
Kokoshibo.
That's the guy.
I mean,
I was wrong.
dude, if he's not intriguing, like I almost want to know more about him than I want to know about Muzan.
Oh, yeah.
But Muzan's obviously terrifying, right? I mean, he cut a woman's head off without ever even, you didn't even see what happened. So he's fast beyond what we're aware of. Let alone his powers. I mean, the way he took Gyoro's head, in episode 1 from him, and we didn't even see it happen. He was on a whole different plane.
Yeah.
So that's cool. But there's still a lot of Hashira that, I don't know. We haven't been introduced to necessarily. We don't need to go into them.
I think some are going to have to. I really do think with the ending of this, because I know we talked about that a little bit, I think some of them are going to have to start dying.
Oh, for sure.
I think we're going to have to. So maybe we get some that are dying before we really have their background explained,
Yeah, you've got fodder.
I'm ready for the old 10 on 10. Let's go. 10 on 4.
I think
Endgame.
I think a lot of the purpose of this, this season, we'll see how it is coming up and if it's like fun or boring or not very action packed or what, but I think it's almost necessary, right? You gotta put Tanjiro, get him to the Hashira level, and then you also gotta, make us care about all the other Hashiras so that when some of them do die later on, where it's going to be, they're not going to kill a Hashira they haven't fleshed out, I think, because then you don't have the emotional payoff and like make you feel, like when Rengoku died.
Well, we could have Genya's brother die without knowing much more about him because we already got a little flashback there.
True.
We could have what's his name? The first Hashira that Tanjiro met, the water Hashira, Giyu. He could die because that's a connection to just again for Tanjiro. So we could have a few that die that we don't need to see more about. I don't know.
I just meant I don't think someone they've hardly introduced at all would be like I don't think they're going to kill the Stone Hashira without giving any sort of more information about him.
Is that the guy that cries all the time? The giant
I think
one?
So.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's also you missed some of the stills that John showed Mike, but he's got this giant ass like morning star mace on a chain. It looks sick.
Okay.
It's gonna be cool.
About the cool characters, the demons in the show. As I was going back and watching again, in the first episode, I didn't notice that Kokushibo, that's a magic card. Kokoshibo, thank you. He's got a demon slayer mark right here.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that.
I'm looking at the picture now. It's on top too and on the bottom. It's
that dude's a triple agent.
Holy shit.
Well, that's something I was thinking would be really cool is they made a point for Muzan to say, like you brought up, Mike, that he doesn't need to expand his ranks anymore. So what if we have a thing where he wants to make sure that no one else knows about these other three and goes after Nezuko themselves? Because there's obviously this tenuous relationship where they've granted him the ability, they've granted these other demons his flesh and thus power, but they don't really, if they had the choice, they wouldn't necessarily just be his servant. So maybe there's a mad like competition to be the first to get and consume Nezuko.
Maybe
I don't think it's going to happen, but I think that would be cool if that is what happened.
Like if they could get to Nezuko first and consume her, then they would have the upper hand on Muzan, and they could become the new.
They could be out in the daylight. Mm-hmm.
It's not like it's giving them any power. This is just walking in the sun.
We don't know that though.
Well,
we know.
Yeah, they don't know that. She has like her blood demon art that's powerful. She's untrained and young. She's not already in her base form. She's not like consumed others like they have for decades or centuries. No. So she's very powerful for a base demon, and now she can also be in the sun. I don't know. I think it would be cool. Like you say, you'd really get to see these villains, these demons. I don't know. There's some sort of like loose team up against Muzan. Do they stand any sort of chance? What are the, or is it just, I don't know. It'd be cool.
I could see Doma's character trying to do that. And then like getting just like his ass handed to him by Muzan.
Wrecked. Yes.
Oh, 100%.
But
that'd be cool to see though.
It would be. They might have planted, they did plant the seed for that. Now it wasn't against Muzan, but it's Akaza wanting to take down Kokushibo. Fuck, I'm never going to get that name right. I'm never going to. I don't care.
That sounds good. Kokushibo.
And he wants to fight him, right? But he also wants to, like, he doesn't respect Doma, clearly. But so what if, along those same lines, if he gets wind of this, he's the one that would have enough insubordination that he might go after Nezuko first to try and get that power. If that's something that, if they even realize that's why Muzan, wants her. There's nothing to say that they know why he would be interested in her.
But but here's the thing. So how does that go down? So you say Muzan says, all right, the target is Nezuko. Bring her to me. I guess. Like everybody else, kill him. But bring her to me alive. Because I would be worried that if you sent them, to kill him or something, they would eat him themselves. So he almost has to get into the field himself and go do it. Well, that is going to obviously raise suspicions. If all of a sudden, he's like, don't worry about it. You guys do what you're doing,
I think JP had to bounce, just so you know, John.
Yep. Let's see. Oh, if you could face me. Sorry. I was just going to look over at the chat.
That's right.
JP just cold gone. That's
tried to do the Irish goodbye.
Yeah. Watch our chat.
Yeah.
Anyways, thanks JP for being here. And go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just going to add on with you. I agree. I would like to see that play. I'm super curious where they're going to take it, right? Mm-hmm. And I still think that the show is good.
Yeah,
but absolutely. I think this was a weaker season than the other two, and it just leaned into this moment on screen, and that's what everyone went for because it is a crazy one. We all thought she was toast.
Yeah. Well, think about it this way, Mike. Sorry to interrupt you. Most of the seasons are ending on like a epic battle, and that's the culmination. That's like the
climax.
The climax. Thank you. But in this one, there was a battle going on, and it had to be won. But really, I think the show is making the climax the emotional moment with Nezuko. And so, to your point, the battle was pretty straightforward and maybe could be considered boring for a later season, like demon battle. But maybe they were maybe that was intentional.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. It brings this center stage way more than if we saw the cool fight against the cool demon, who seemed like he was going to be really cool. But I'll be honest, based off what we got to see out of him on screen, like he relied so heavily on the dragon heads, which are sick, but like it seemed like he also had the ability to use all of the other powers.
Yeah,
that would have been cooler to see him dig into. We only got a hint of that as Tanjiro, Nezuko, and Genya were trying to run away and chase after this guy.
Yeah,
but yeah, I hear you. I just think that it's still lame how many freaking scenes I watched of that stupid little bastard running through the grass.
I agree. Yeah,
sure. And how many times Tanjiro got a sword on his neck. I understood that it was hard to cut his neck after the first time. I didn't need to go through that a whole second time.
Sure.
Cut that all out. Give him the badass sword. We know that's his power up.
Yeah.
Give him Zenitsu's thing and have him slice through that. And then on top of that, that wasn't even the fucking end of it. Like, guys, that's insane. You went through, the sword gets lodged in the neck. He keeps on trucking. You finally cut off his neck. He keeps on trucking. Like, oh, God.
Gotta sniff it out. It's in the heart.
Yeah, because I think it's I understand what you're saying. I can see that like going on too long, and I think that's something that is a thing they're trying to always each time make it add something new, because it will get stale with, well, cut their head off. You gotta cut their head off. And so it's difficult to cut their head off. So, you start by like, okay, we need to see the thread to know where to cut. So that's where we get to start with. And then it's like, well, we need to cut the head off, but wait, that's not working because there's two of them. So we got to cut off simultaneously. So now it's like, well, what are we going to do now? So we apply that logic. We're like, okay, do we got to cut all 5 of their heads off at once? Oh crap, there's more of them. How are we going to cut all of their heads off at once? And then it's like, no, it's not that. There's a main body. There's a main body, and that main body is hidden. And so when you think that you've gotten that main body head off, you didn't, because it's hiding.
It was hidden in that body.
So it's like trying to keep you on balance. And I agree. I could say you could cut a little. You could trim a little fat there. You could trim a little. We're always saying these are too like brief and quick, but I can see some of those moments. I could see tightening up the whole thing in a way. Like I said, we're talking about putting this in the movie. We could cut out some of the stuff when they were split into 5 or whatever. We didn't need that to be as long. We didn't need the kind of like banter with the vase guy as long, I don't think. Like we could tighten some things up.
I will stand strong. You didn't need any of that at all. You didn't need the Miss Hashira in this season at all. Not to say he wasn't cool, not to take away from his character, but it did absolutely nothing for this story. It
could be important in the future, though, for Tokido's character. Now we got all his backstory, and he'll become important later, I'm sure.
Sure, but couldn't you have done that then? Like,
maybe.
I guess it depends on what we see happen. And listen,
sure.
You don't even have to cut out those elements, because they're at least unique elements. But this season would not have felt any shorter. In fact, I think part of the reason it feels so egregious and that things are so short is because of the repetition that we felt with that guy, with that one, just the small dude, right? He ran away for half an episode, then he was engulfed inside of the wood, stone, whatever. They get through that. He runs away again. They cut through that. He runs away again. Like it wasn't like a battle. It was like a chase scene
for like 4 episodes. Yeah.
Well, okay, it was not. I mean,
Well, bits and parts of multiple episodes for sure.
We had running too much in this last episode, chasing them, and then we did early on when they first discovered him, and Genya was going after him, and then it's like, I can't find him, so why don't you do this, Tanjiro? So we had 2 episodes where it was too long trying to chase him. The idea from the first chase we saw is it's very difficult to behead him. He's diminutive, but he's still powerful enough that it's difficult to cut his head off. That's what we learned the first time. And the second one is like just that he's able to like go inside another's body, you know. But if that was going to be the shtick, we should have cut the chase down a lot. And because what we could have done is show less, it would just be a jumble around. We show less of the Love Hashira in the previous episode doing so many different techniques. So we show a couple of them and the plan forms, go get him while I hold him off. Then in the next episode, we can see some more forms that we are able to cut back and forth between chasing him down and her, so it's not so much long. So we have way less time seeing, because we know they're still chasing after the little guy,
right? But
we're also watching the Love Hashira now while that's happening. So I think that would just a little shift around would make a big difference in feeling like we're not just sitting there like chasing this little scurrying guy for so long.
Right. And remember though, this last episode, that's 2 episodes. They put it into one, but it was 2 episodes.
True.
Yes.
So that's 3.
But I still think that I don't know about the whole season, but certainly the end of the season I liked better than the Entertainment District.
Okay.
I just didn't, the whole, I don't know. Entertainment District was fine. It wasn't. I mean, I liked it. It wasn't my favorite of the seasons. But then they end the whole series with like that whole backstory, that tragic backstory for like the brother and sister, and it's just like, I don't know. This is a weird way to end a season. And then I watched it again because I went to see in theater with a buddy of mine. We went and saw, it was the last 2 episodes of the Entertainment District and the first last 2 episodes of the last season and the first episode of this season in theaters at the Alamo in Woodbury. And
cool. Very cool.
It was awesome seeing it on the big screen, but I saw that whole backstory twice. And I was just like, I mean, it's like compelling, but it's a weird way to end a season, I think.
Okay.
Well, you look at, so we talked about Game of Thrones earlier, it's something they do. It's always like the penultimate episode is the one that is the big battle, the big budget spending craziness or whatever. And then the final episode is that's calm the waters and see how what happened, what's left in the wake. So I get why they're doing that, because you want to have time to not end on just like the crazy action. You want to have time to wrap up, but you don't need so much time. So I did appreciate that with this season where it was like we had our little wrap up celebratory moment at the end and stuff like that, but it wasn't excessive.
Well, and I don't even mind having like a calm wrap up. I want it to be like a happy, everyone's, convalescing and happy and together, not like a tragic demon backstory about how they were like pariahs and then, got burned in a pit. And
that's why this is they're going back and forth between like how we leave people, the last season really, it was ultimately hopeful and good, but it was done in a very kind of slow, dour way. This is like the end of the Return of the Jedi. This is so. Yeah,
it was much more uplifted at the end of this season than last season.
I mean, maybe we can tell by my comments, and I'm the negative one on the show. Maybe I am a glass half empty kind of guy. I don't know, but last season, I loved it, dude, and it made me care about the 2 disgusting, vile demons. Like that to me is a feat. And that's why that one sits so well with me. Whereas this one felt like more of a softball to me. And I like the implications of this. Well, I guess I said that in our text message group. I like the implications of everything that has happened here.
Yeah.
And you know what? Not every season can be kind of the downer that last season was. And I wouldn't want it to be.
True.
Because I stopped watching Shameless because of that. Like, this is good. I like the balance.
Yeah, that's a great point. That, you know, one season might end like on kind of like a sadder or like tragic note. Another season might end on a really positive note. You know, and that's fun to not always necessarily end on like a happy ending. But I wouldn't want it all sad all the time either. To your point.
There's no hope, right? If everything always ends poorly, there is no hope. This is almost torturous, right? Because you get this high degree of positivity, and I could see next season Nezuko, you know, actually going. Like they've set that up now, where it would be even more gut wrenching. Maybe not next season. Maybe that's too close.
But by the
I
end,
don't know. Yeah.
Yep. Because I do have a feeling that, like, I just have a gut feeling that there's no way to turn Nezuko back into a human. I don't think that's going to happen, and I think that's going to be real hard for poor little Tanjiro's heart. So
I felt like he didn't really feel like he needed to at the end of this one.
Oh, maybe not. Yeah, true.
Like,
good point.
You know, she still has who she is, right?
True.
Yeah,
well, and we saw the doctor that he'd worked with before, right? And so they had synthesized her blood to treat someone that had turned into a demon. And though it's not a complete reversal, he's able to survive. He's able to be in the daylight and survive on a small amount of blood.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you did. Oh yeah, that's a good point. So maybe they will. They have the scientists working on it. Well, but I could also see her dying. I don't know. I
mean, maybe she's done her job now.
Right.
I mean, that would be, again, a thing that's not going to happen. But wouldn't it be cool if, like, one of the upper rank that's really, you know, really ready to be mutinous actually does beat Muzan to the punch, actually does consume Nezuko, is powered up, has her blood demon art, and is able to walk in the sunlight. And now we have, like, who's stronger? Now we have like a rival to Muzan potentially, or something like that. You know, like where the alliances fall. Like, do they? I don't know. That would be really cool. I don't think it's going to go that route.
No,
but
that would be
another cool thing.
What would you think if that happened and then Muzan just still absolutely fucking wrecked him?
I'd love that too.
Let's say it's Akaza, right? Akaza gets it, and you're like, oh shit, this guy is on another level now, right? Because they're ranked by how much of their humanity they have left, right?
Yeah.
So if Akaza takes her down, humanity's gone or whatever, and then Muzan just like, whack, like you have no clue. Yeah. Does that not just amplify the stakes even higher?
It does. That would be so sad because it would mean
I have chills, Mike. I have chills.
For nothing.
It would be for nothing, but
I don't think the show would do that. But that would be tragic. Yeah,
I'm all right.
I mean, but I like that this show wasn't afraid at times to do the unexpected. And though some of these things have been unexpected, like something tragically unexpected. And I would love to see that most of the Demon Slayer Corps is wiped out. You know, their leader is like, he puts himself on the line when everybody else is gonna fall. He doesn't get to see if there's a success in this or not. We see the line maybe come to fruition for Tanjiro saying, like, maybe not me, maybe not in my lifetime, but someone, you know, we're going to take him down. I am okay with that sort of tragedy unfolding. I do think this show needs to end with the heroes kind of thing. We're building Tanjiro up that he is special for some reason. He is our hero. He is the one that's going to struggle and suffer. And I do think he has to become victorious, and he'll be the ultimate badass and win and all this stuff. I think that does have to happen. I think that's what the kind of show they're building. But along the way, I think we can have a lot of unexpected tragedy that would really make things interesting.
100%. How are we going to look at this this beheaded corpse? Just like, hanging out, just leave it on the screen for a while. We put a different picture up.
Are you not entertained?
I just
No, I'm with you.
Just change it up a little.
I got distracted.
There
we go.
Mitsuri boobs. No, give me Mitsuri boobs. All right, fine.
Yeah, I know. There's a shortage. There's a shortage.
That was really my biggest complaint about the last episode is that
not enough.
There's not enough Mitsuri.
Yeah, dude.
I actually like the second to last episode the best, probably of the whole season potentially.
I like her story. Yeah. I was doing the rewatch, and it started it last night, carried it over today, and Rachel came walking into the room during the hot springs scene when she stands up, and Rachel's like, "The fuck are you doing?"
It's like
that's always the way it works. It's always the way it happens. Right. It's funny, because as a kid that'd be the thing or whatever. Now I got to deal with that as adults too. It's like, don't judge me.
Ways, though.
Watch the rest of this. Yeah, it does go both ways. Someone could be watching some Bridgerton bullshit, and you walk in and it's like, look at all this smut. It's like this is the one thing,
right?
Or whatever.
Yep. Dana, a couple years ago, Dana watched Outlander, and I kept walking in, and it'd be like a full-on sex. I was just like, "What do you want?" Like, I don't care. I mean, we don't care, but it's, So. She's like, "Oh, I swear, you just are walking into the sex scenes."
They give each other shit about it, It's like, but
Phil, that tells me you're just drawn to the sex scenes. That's what I'm hearing. Like you got a natural radar
inclination to, yeah. It's your smell. It's like a Tanjiro. You can just sense it.
I am a mammal.
Yes.
Down,
Yeah. Down with the sickness.
You can tell when Dana's getting excited, and you just enter the room.
Oh, I'm glad you finished that sentence. I was like, John, what? All right. New topic.
I'm trying to think about this scientifically. All right, Jesus.
For sure.
Yeah. So, all right. It is all going to depend on moving forward. I suppose if the next season, I think for sure for Mike, if we move forward and it's like more of the same, the pacing is the same, we get the same kind of thing, maybe it starts getting pretty disappointing. If in the grand scheme of things, if this is not in the next season, I feel like the next season is going to be this shorter kind of experience. We're going to reunite the trio, where it's going to be a lot of comedy involved, and it's going to be a big sort of grueling training thing. We're not going to be dealing with the demons really so much. They're just encountered or teased at the end as to what's happening there, unless they really do start infighting.
That could be.
Yeah.
So I know, it sounds like we're trying to wrap up here, so I guess I don't want to open a whole new can of worms, but when you say that you talked about what next season is and it's the Hashira training, does that mean these three are training to become Hashira? So there's no, or is it Demon Slayer Corps again? They're getting new recruits. Do we know anything about that? Because the new recruits thing had a lot of demons in it still.
I think they talk about, I read a little article that said it's generally about Tanjiro specifically getting trained by some of the other Hashira. I think specifically the Stone Hashira is supposed to have a prominent role as being one of the ones who trains him a lot.
Okay.
And so I think they'll have a lot of the Hashira very prominent, but maybe him the most. Okay. That's kind of what I'm hearing. But I would also think, even though they're not explicitly saying it, I can't imagine they won't have Inosuke and Zenitsu in the next, along with them.
Dude,
and I wouldn't even be surprised if Genya's there getting more training too. The whole, just to bring the whole crew in. We're gearing up for the final battle. We got to train up the people who are showing the most promise. They've obviously graduated from the Greenhorns. Obviously this is phase 2 or 3 of their Hashira training. They've been through the first couple of phases and been in some battles, and now it's like kind of polish them up, and now they're going to be Hashiras, like I would think at the end of this next arc, and then they'll go into the final 1 or 2 seasons as full-fledged Hashira fighting with all like the pros, you know, the experienced ones, you know. So that's how I kind of imagine it going. But
I would like a couple things I would like. I would like one to see only Tanjiro become a Hashira, because he's showing to be special or whatever. I think that being a Hashira should be something that's really difficult to obtain, and that seeing, you know, Genya or Zenitsu or Inosuke just cheapens the idea of Hashira. If all of them start this training and become Hashira, you know, I'd like to, but I don't know. The other thing I'd like to see would be, wouldn't it be cool if we had a season or a short movie or a full-length movie that what was going on with Inosuke and Zenitsu, like they met up and they had to deal with an upper rank.
cool.
Like that would have been that'd be really cool to me if we just had like an aside where we know Tanjiro's training to be a Hashira. Meanwhile, during all this other stuff, like Zenitsu and Inosuke were dealing with Doma, the second rank or something like that, with, you know, some other Hashira as well. Like that would be cool to me.
Yeah.
Again, I don't think the show's going to do it because Tanjiro's our hero, he's our focus, you know, and stuff of that, but it would be cool.
That'd be cool.
I really agree with, as much as it pains me, because I think Inosuke is just coolest thing. I would agree with him not becoming a Hashira. I also want it to be unique, rare, and having 3 out of the nowhere. It doesn't seem, and they don't have to be Hashira to be in the Demon Slayer Corps. They already are.
True.
No.
They don't have to be Hashira to be his buddies. You know?
No.
Nope.
True.
Nope. Or to be useful or anything like that.
Right.
But I will say though, it's not like they're all like 3 boys from the same neighborhood who just went off and ventured together. They're 3 people who met because they were trying to become Hashira. So I don't think it's outlandish to think that all 3 of them potentially could become Hashira or be special. I'm not saying they should or will. I agree with a lot of your guys' points too. I mean, I think it's very possible, and it would be more compelling just to have Tanjiro. But I'm going to say I don't think it's unreasonable to think that they could be.
Sure.
I would like to go ahead.
No, go ahead. I talked a lot. Go.
I'm just like saying things I'd like that I don't think are going to happen, but I would like to see actually the Demon Slayer Corps basically decimated from one way or another. It would be interesting to see one of them, whether that's an infighting thing or whoever would consume Nezuko, she dies. Most of the ranks are wiped out. Tanjiro becomes a Hashira during this next training arc. But it's just not enough. None of them are enough. And we do a big time jump. We see a lot more death and things decimated. And in the interim, maybe one other existing Hashira, Tanjiro, and then Inosuke and Zenitsu survive. And we see them now when they're like in their 30s or 40s. And now they're all Hashira. They spent years kind of hiding, but training. Like, we're not ready. And they're trying to kind of rebuild the Demon Corps as much as they can. And then, then we have our final battle. And
This sounds strikingly similar to a space opera I'm familiar with, little known.
No, it doesn't sound familiar to a space opera
Army,
to me because there's
strength on a jungle planet. Biding their time.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So this is like a New Hope sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, something like that. Star Wars going there.
Yeah. I mean, I can. It adds to the, the weight, and like we say, how cool would it be to see Muzan just, like he's just still leagues above everyone, and I don't know.
Yeah. That'd be cool. That'd be interesting.
But yeah, I don't know. Do you guys have any predictions or really big wishes or something, like, do we want the next thing to just be a movie and really change up the pace? Do we want to,
I would be good with a movie for the next thing if it's short. If it is just them training significantly, then I really do hope we see some infighting between the demons, because I don't really want a season sans demons and sans Inosuke. I'll be like, why am I watching this show? All the things I like are gone. So
I don't think they'll do that, Mike. I don't get worried.
I could see it.
There's no conceivable way Inosuke won't be in this next season, and then he wasn't in this one at all. People would riot in the streets.
Yeah. Same with Zenitsu. I don't know how you guys like him, but a lot of you do. And,
We're out there.
He at least got to be in this one as like the form of inspiration. Although it kind of sucks that like his superpower is something that Tanjiro's like, oh yeah, no, I got that for sure.
Well, but to your point from way earlier in the pod today, when you're saying like Tanjiro can pick up all these different techniques, I think you're right. And I think my theory is because he's a sun breather, and like really all energy like comes from the sun. And so like if you're a sun breather, then you can do all the different breathing forms.
Okay. Yep.
Maybe that's what I think.
Kind of like an Avatar Airbender sort of thing, right? I mean, seems like a valid inspiration. Yeah.
Well, and I would, I do want to see that Zenitsu and Inosuke have progressed. Yeah. I do think it's time that we see them, if we're going to have them evolved, see them progress somehow, new abilities, figuring out Zenitsu's like sleeping inner, all this sort of thing, like those things need resolution. So I think a training season would be a good time to explore some of that and have one of these, maybe Hashida whip that out of him, like figure out how we can properly unlock this, and then we can see him level up in a way.
That seems like a natural progression for him. To be honest, I have no clue what Inosuke's improved forms or whatever look like how those manifest, because his stuff is so random. It doesn't seem to be tied to anything else. Like he clearly has fantastic control over his musculature and his innards and all that kind of stuff. But like, is that where you go with it? Do you go with more of like a, Hulk style where rage sends him into an animalistic frenzy? Like what direction does this head? I mean, Tanjiro is your prototypical swordsman, right? So you just improve that swordsman skill and his agility and his, adeptness with the blade. But I don't know. And then Zenitsu, like it's got to be more than just he learns to do it when he's not sleeping, right? It's got to be more to it.
Well, he's pretty powerful when he does do his. I mean, he's so fast. It's like the lightning strike, right? So his thing is like speed, kind of. It's his little thing. But yeah, I don't know. Beast breathing, but they haven't really explored that heavily.
Is that what it is? Beast breathing? I was wondering what his breathing technique was. Okay.
Yeah, it's beast breathing. Which
is sweet.
Yeah.
By the way. Maybe in this training arc, like if Zenitsu and Inosuke are with him, maybe they'll each get kind of like Hashira, who's like, I'm taking it under my wing. I got to whip you into shape.
Yeah.
Like, maybe someone who Inosuke will really gel well with, who's going to be like, can kind of match him like crazy for crazy.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Like someone that's, well, it probably is someone that's super stoic or something, right? Or maybe the
like
two energies that clash, like the yeah, that could be.
So
just really aggressive. They just become best friends.
Yeah, like Yuji and what's his name from Jujutsu Kaisen? Those two guys.
Oh yeah. Bro, whatever.
Yeah, brother. Yeah. I'd love to see that. Not sure who that would be, but I guess the brother. Yeah.
Well, and then you got to put. You have to put Zenitsu probably with the insect Hashida. She saved him previously, so they have a little bit of a connection. And then obviously he's like embarrassed around women and like
and they're like doctors, so that would be maybe they could heal his like, maybe they're also like psychotherapists.
Yeah,
get the root of his issues to not be able to perform.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Well, anything else on Demon Slayer? I mean, we're done for a year now. Yeah. Next year. It's next year. Are you guys going to read the manga? Is that like a plan? Is that what it's happening?
No.
Or
I want to, but I feel like I will spoil it.
Oh,
But I want it to be spoiled. But I feel, honestly, if we weren't doing this podcast, 110%, I would be reading that shit right now. But this is a highlight of my week here. I like digesting it with you guys.
me too.
And you all have very different opinions and viewpoints on the show itself. So
Sure.
I like that. So I can't read ahead.
We appreciate that, Mike. We want you back for next season. I was going to say, the question is, Mike, are you going to be able to quick binge season 1 of Jujutsu Kaisen to catch up and do a season 2 podcast with John and I?
I should have some time here. I'm just about done fixing my car. That's what's been eating up my time since last weekend. I had a big accident, a big stupid. Made a big stupid, and I am paying for it both financially and with my time now. So, but with this being done, that can take my time.
Perfect. I think July is when the second season comes out, so you got some time to binge the first season.
That was on the track, the accident, I assume?
Yeah. I lost my brakes going into you're going from a very high speed portion to a very, very slow speed portion, and lost the brakes. Attaboy.
I haven't done this.
And went off track. Yeah. And dealing with that now. That's a good one. So yeah, with this show done, I can pick that up and I'll power through it. It's called Jujutsu Kaisen. Is it about jujitsu, or am I hearing that wrong?
Jujutsu. Jujutsu.
I probably wasn't pronouncing it correctly.
No, it's all right. I just would have been super on board, but all right.
There's
Ashley and I confuse it all the time with we'll accidentally say jujutsu instead of jujitsu when we're trying, because it's similar. So, it's not really in wrestling.
That's all right. All right.
It's awesome though. John, tell him. Tell him.
Yeah, and JP watched it. JP loves it. So if you power, we have I think 16 days to season 2. So it's a longer season. It's kind of a full anime season, and then there's a movie. And
but you'll be able to. You get a couple episodes in, and you're going to be like, "Oh, I'm gonna bring it on." For I love you. Yeah, it's easy to binge. Super
20-minute episodes.
The 23
24
kind of thing. Yep.
Standard, I think. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Cool. All right.
So give that a shot. That'd be the next thing we're covering on the show, on a every other week kind of basis. Probably do the 2 episodes at a time, sort of thing, in the middle of July. Before that, probably do an episode or 2 here and there. Try to fit it in. Just probably going to talk to, if we have to do it individually or as a group or something, let's talk a little bit how everybody got started in anime, what their first show was, when they realized it was anime, kind of explore that. And then, I don't know. I want to get Tony on this podcast too. So if it has to be, maybe we talk about Princess Mononoke or something that he's familiar with. We have that as well. Phil and I are going to have to talk about Heavenly Delusion. So, that's going to have to be a thing. So we got lots to cover, but the big one to try to be here for, I think, is Jujutsu Kaisen in 16 days. So,
Yep.
I will do my best. I want to see if I've got some of my old artwork from when I used to draw Dragon Ball Z, because then I'll show that off on the show, because it was funny as hell. And if I don't, I'll go back to my parents' house and see if they've still got it somewhere. Because it was, dude, I was obsessed.
In the chat, MJ, a friend MJ, she says she'd talk about Howl's Moving Castle. So we definitely could talk about, Studio Ghibli things. I could show some pictures from when I visited the Studio Ghibli place or whatever. It'd be a fun Ghibli episode.
I haven't watched any of his movies, so I'll have to work on that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it'd be fun to see those drawings. I definitely in high school was also pretty obsessed. I didn't really draw a whole lot, but I certainly filled my like trapper binder and stuff with pictures and stuff of no one else knew anything about it. It's like that's what again, it was a small town. It's just like no one liked Star Wars, no one liked Dragon Ball.
That's very
Who are you people?
sad.
You know,
Very sad.
yeah.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I was in a big town with a lot of people, and no one liked Dragon Ball. It was just me being that weird kid, me and my two buddies who were into it, and everyone thought we were just weird. And I'm lucky I had enough confidence to power through it anyways.
Yep.
I bet a bunch of people, they remember Mike now. Oh, yeah. Because now they'll see Dragon Ball everywhere.
Right.
I'm like, oh, I guess Mike wasn't that weird. He was just ahead of the times.
Yep, exactly.
So,
Cool.
Okay, well, I think that's it. But those are some of the things you guys can look forward to on upcoming Ohayou anime episodes. We'll probably be back next week with a regular podcast on the rocks covering something. So, 2 podcasts a week for me is kind of tough. So it'll probably be rotating podcast and anime. Sort of the plan for now. And otherwise, Mike, why don't you talk about your channel? Plug your channel.
Yeah, that's at Track Mouse on YouTube and Instagram. I have been dragging my feet on posting the new videos from Brainerd from this last event. Definitely going to post up the off track. I just have to get over myself and go do that. So, but that'll be up there pretty soon.
Yeah, do that, and then share it with us on Twitter or something. We'll retweet it and get that stuff out there. So
sounds good.
MJ, thank you for jumping in the chat with us. Appreciate. Make sure that everybody go and check out MJ. She's MJ Honeybee on Twitch. She streams Dead by Daylight like 3 times a week. So she's on a lot. She has a Discord that's very active and stuff. So she's doing really well over there. If you're interested in Dead by Daylight, that's a fun community. They I play that game only a little bit, but it's still fun to watch. So if it's one of those games, like I don't like watching a lot of games sometimes because I'm going to play that and I don't want the story ruined or something like that.
Sure.
Day by Daylight, it's a good one that just situationally see what's going on. So
cool.
That's it. Make sure to subscribe, like, share, all those sort of things, and we'll see everybody next time.
Alrighty.
Sounds good.
Peace.
Later, guys.